What is up guys, my name is GamePan and welcome back to a Team Fortress 2 video today. Now basically, I wanted to do a brand new, and this has been requested quite a few times from different people, and I really wanted to make a new video today. So today we're going to be doing a brand new 2020 TF2 Unusual Trading Guide, and the key things to know about Team Fortress 2 trading in 2020. Before we get started in today's TF2 video, I just want to say to you guys, if you can do me one quick favor and click the subscribe button, that would mean the world to me. I wanted to hit 2,000 subscribers before summertime, around June, July, August-ish, so if you guys can just go and subscribe to the channel, that would mean the world to me. So alongside that, let's crack on with today's TF2 video. Hoping all of you are doing okay out there due to this virus outbreak that's currently happening around the world. So due to that, I've had more time to make videos and make my own thumbnails now, which I'm going to be trying to do from now on. So you'll see a different style of thumbnails and maybe editing as well. So we're going to start off with the trading series now. So the first thing I want to talk about is the amount of keys you're going to be starting with for the TF2 trading series. So over the few years of Team Fortress 2 trading, most people started with around 5 to 10 keys if you were going to go into TF2 Unusual Trading. Now, due to how difficult trading is for low tiers, for example, and a lot of them have been dropping insanely due to the Great Depression which happened back in 2019 in July, I feel like it's kind of hard to set a good low amount of key price to start off with. So what I started off with when I started trading from scratch, I started with 50 keys. Now the problem is with 50 keys, not many people have 50 keys to start off trading, and I can completely understand that. That's a lot of keys to start off with. That's like $100, which is insane. So I really would recommend from between 10 to 30 keys, so maybe 20, maybe 15, maybe 30, maybe more, depending on how much your budget is as well. But if you do start at as low as 10 keys, then you might want to check certain low tiers, which we'll be discussing in this video as well. But don't get too worried about starting off from somewhere low, because it's not the end of the world. You still got a good opportunity to trade up and grow high, because everyone started from low and people still are, and I think there's still a good chance of trading up high no matter how low your budget is. Okay, for the next one is, where would you buy the keys if you're starting off from scratch? Now, there's two websites which I kind of recommend for doing this, but if you're buying it with pure money, I recommend 100% marketplace.tf. I don't really know any other sites which are as trustable as marketplace.tf, and all the keys there are really cheap compared to Steam Wallet. So if you were planning on you buying Steam Wallet and then buying the keys from there, you're paying a lot more, and you might get extra keys by buying it from marketplace, because keys are a lot more expensive on the community market on Steam. So I really recommend you go to marketplace.tf and check the key prices there and go buy them, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be the cheapest place you can get them anywhere else you can't. So marketplace.tf is probably the best place to go buy the keys. And then if you have other currencies such as refined, or you're planning on just getting keys from if you're starting from scratch, if you're going to quick sell your older Unusual you had to start from scratch, I recommend going on to backpack.tf and just check out the buy orders for how much they're going to pay for your Unusual, and go from there. Okay, so next we're going to talk about which effects to avoid and which effects to receive. Now, there's kind of a love-hate relationship going on with the Team Fortress 2 effects, because due to the Great Depression 2019, people used to love the first gen effects. People used to love Sunbeams and Burn Flames. They used to be really expensive. Think of the Burning Killer exclusive and the Burning Team Captain. Everybody wanted them. They were the most expensive TF2 hats in the game. But recently, due to the Great Depression, which happened in 2019, the first and third gens were unboxed a lot more than any of the other effects, and now due to that, it's made them less desirable and not many people want to buy them. So if you really can, try your hardest to avoid first gen effects and third gen effects. don't be too put off because there are some effects out there which aren't that bad, honestly. Like, for example, if you actually were trading for a misc in Team Fortress 2, that doesn't really matter because you cannot unbox miscs anymore, and most people actually kind of want miscs. Now, the effects that everyone is going for right now are the Halloween effects. So if you get like a really old Halloween effect, try to see how much you can get for that, because usually it's the Halloween effects which are the most desirable and everyone wants them. Like, sometimes it depends on the effect because there's a lot of like common Halloween effects that not many people like. For example, there's like Airy Orbiting Fire, Haunted Ghosts, Cauldron Bubbles. No one really likes them effects. Now the effects people do like are ones, for example, like Spellbound, Dark Blaze, Demon Flame, Hellfire, and so on, like Arcana as well. So that's just what I recommend to do. Try to stick to like 2nd gen effects, and then like winter effects, and like even the recent effects. Like, I wouldn't stay away from them. Like, most effects you're kind of fine with. It's not the end of the world if you do get a 1st or like a 3rd gen unusual hat. Just be careful when you're trading with it, because you want to check that it's not out of date and like hasn't been priced for such a long time. Alright, so next to talk about is buying quick sells and that specific percentage you want to buy them for. That will make you profit as well. Now, basically, over the years, the percentage has completely changed, where it wasn't as high as it used to be, and like how low it used to be. It always changes. It kind of really depends on what hat you're basically going to be buying. Now, for example, if you're going to buy a Halloween quick sell, they usually go for about 20% to maybe 30%, depending on the unusual, of course. But if you're buying like a 1st gen quick sell, which I really don't recommend, but if you decide to buy one, or like you're buying any quick sell in general, they go up from 30% to 50%. Now, with a lot of like 1st and 3rd gen hats, a lot of them are really out of date, and that's why people are quick selling them, because you gotta really research into their price of the hat, because some of them might not even be the actual price of what it actually could sell for, because like, for example, if it's priced at like 90 keys, but in reality people are like selling it for like 50 keys, and then like people are like buying it for like 20 keys, it's kind of like got this like unbalanced sort of like price for it, you know. So I really would recommend you go check into that, like check on the hat, do some research, make sure it's a safe hat to buy and that it won't drop later on, and make sure you get a pretty decent offer on it, because it's hard to tell with like prices what you're going to pay, but usually I'd be really careful with the amount of keys you're willing to spend on unusual. So make sure you look into that and be very careful. So I would recommend, when you have keys, I would start off with buying on a quick sale for around 30% off, which isn't too bad, but at least you get a little discount to start off with, and then from there you can try and trade up with from it. I would recommend maybe try and get it for another unusual, but if you get a decent key offer, I recommend taking the key offer. So there's kind of different ways you can trade up. So there's a way where you can like start from one unusual and then trade up from another unusual, which might be a bit more, but making sure it's safe. Or if you want, what a lot of people used to do, I think the Virtual Economist did this as well, where he started off with like 10 keys, he bought like a quick sell for like 12, and then resold the hat for 13 pure, so he practically made like a key profit. So I recommend you could do something like that as well if you want to, but just remember, we're in 2020, trading's completely difficult when it comes to low tier trading, and especially buying quick sales, because now if you look around TF2 trading websites and like servers and a bunch of sites and everything, people are buying quick sales for an extremely lowball price. You want to be really careful when you're going to be selling your unusual, because people will be lowballing the hell out of you, and you're not kind of sure what to go from there, like how much you want to sell it for. But just keep on your guard, keep prepared, make sure to like sell it for what you want to sell it for. Just make sure it's a reasonable price for them and for yourself as well. For the next one, it's going to be trading servers. Now there's only 2 unusual trade servers which are like the popular ones. I don't think there's any other unusual trade servers out there anymore, and now these are the 2 trade servers which everybody uses, and like they're the most popular trade servers out there. So I'm gonna put the IP in the description for both of these. So there's Vatican City and Firepowered. Now be very careful, because if you're going to be buying quick sales, only go to Vatican City, because Firepowered have this like rule where you're not allowed to advertise buying quick sales, because they don't want people to keep like spamming it and like putting it all over, flooding all over the chat and everything. So if you're buying quick sells on trade servers, go to Vatican City, but if you're just doing normal unusual trading, go to Firepower as well. You can do both on Vatican, but just be very careful for that as well. So I'll be linking the IP descriptions in the description, and let's carry on from there. Okay, for the next one, we're going to be talking about trading sites. Now, this one's kind of like, it's not too important if you're going to be unusual trading. Now, basically, the only ones you really want to focus on are just servers and then backpack.tf. That's all that really is to it. Like, unless you're like planning on like selling on Australian for like keys, or like you're selling like items you don't want for keys, there is scrap.tf as well. But for most of the trading scene and scenario, you don't really need to like go on the other site other than backpack.tf to price check any items you have to check. So from there, that's all you really need to do. So I recommend only just using backpack.tf for now, but make sure to research other websites as well. Like there's stn.tf, I think that's what it's called, and then there's also scrap.tf. But be very careful with certain trade servers, because there's a lot of sorry, not trade servers, trading websites. There's a lot of really fishy sites out there which try to like, you know, just try and scam you, so just be very careful with that. But I just highly recommend you only using backpack.tf and scrap.tf, because they're from the same owner and they're really reliable and trustable. So I recommend you check them both out. So all of it will be in the link in the description one more time. So undercutting is a thing, but you need to be very careful with that, because if you're willing to beat any bot and like any person for a price for an unusual, you got to make sure you pay that price if they come sending you an offer, because I'm pretty sure it's bannable if you cancel your buy order, but like if they send you that offer as well. So make sure if you're placing a buy order on backpack.tf that you pay that price, because you never know, you don't want to risk getting a ban on backpack.tf. Anyway, so yeah, I really recommend for undercutting. It kind of depends really. It's a good idea to like be the first one that people try and send you trade offers, but at the same time, as so many people are making buy orders, especially that all the bots that are out there now, it's very hard to use buy orders to try and win off a trade and try and get someone to sell their stuff to you first. So be very careful of that, very cautious. Just make sure you're doing the right thing, and make sure you're paying a good deal for placing a buy order. Dupes on items. Now this one is very 50-50, so basically I'm just gonna say it just like this because this is the only way I feel like it works. Now duplicates only matter if your item is above 50 keys or so, because usually if it's like a low tier to maybe potentially a low mid tier, it doesn't matter as much as like a high tier. So for example, if you had like a Scorching team captain which was dupe, like a Burn team captain, that's not going to be worth as much as what backpack.tf probably says it is, because it's duplicated. Now, when you are trading for duplicated hats, it isn't the end of the world if you do get a duplicated hat, but like sometimes you have to be very careful. You can go into the history on backpack.tf and make sure you know if it's duped or not. There'll be a screenshot right here showing you if it's duped, so be very careful to make sure that it's clean, and be very careful because it's just a high risk sometimes. But if you are starting from low tier unusual trading, it doesn't really matter. Like if people say it does, then just they're trying to like make you pay less and get a bad deal out of it, because low tiers don't really matter as much as high tiers. But I'd say only focus on like the duplicated items if you're trading above 50 or so keys, maybe 40, 35, depends on how much of a risk you're willing to go, but usually it doesn't matter as much. But usually it's the higher tiers which are the more duplicated hats, so just take a good look at them and make sure you're getting good trades and that the history is all clean and up to date. So for the last thing I'm going to be talking about in this trading guide is just to be patient with your trades. Now, some of them might take a while. You do get lucky and unlucky with certain hats, because sometimes it takes like a day to sell, maybe an hour, maybe even like a few months. Like it sometimes does take a while to trade. So make sure you're trading the right thing and you're happy with the trade as well, because sometimes being patient and waiting for the time is actually worth it, because sometimes you get a really good profit if you wait later on. But so yeah, just take it step by step. There's no rush really, and I just wish you good luck with your if you're starting to do some new unusual trading. So that's going to be the end of the video. So once again, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and peace.